Hey, ladies, let me tell you something real. Sometimes the hardest thing to deal with is not heartbreak, not arguments, not even goodbye. It's the silence. It's when he's not calling, not texting, not showing up, but somehow he's still on your mind every single day. And that right there, that can confuse you because a part of you starts believing, I can't stop thinking about him. Maybe it means something. But today, we're not guessing. We're not assuming. We're not holding on to false hope. Today, we're going to talk about the truth behind that feeling, what it really means, and most importantly, how you take your power back from it. Let me break this down for you in a real practical way. Just because someone is constantly on your mind does not mean they are actively choosing you, valuing you, or even thinking about you at the same level. And that's the part people struggle to accept. See, your mind doesn't operate on reality alone. It operates on memory, emotion, and imagination. So when someone leaves an impact on you, whether it was through attention, affection, or even inconsistency, your brain holds onto those moments. It replays them. It analyzes them. It tries to complete a story that never got a proper ending. That's why you can't stop thinking about them. Not because they're the one, but because your mind is trying to process something that feels incomplete. Think about it. When things end clearly, when you get honesty, closure, and understanding, you might feel hurt, but you don't feel stuck. You don't sit there for weeks wondering what happened. But when things end in silence, when communication fades without explanation, when effort suddenly disappears, that creates a loop in your mind. You start asking questions like, what did I do wrong? Did it mean anything? Why did they change? And without answers, your mind keeps going back again and again. Now here's where it gets dangerous. You start confusing mental presence with real presence. Just because they live in your thoughts does not mean they have a place in your life. Let me say that again in a way that hits. Someone can occupy your mind and still have zero intention of occupying your life. And if you don't understand that, you'll end up holding on to people who have already let go of you. Because instead of looking at their actions, you're focusing on your feelings. And feelings can be misleading. Feelings will tell you, but it felt real. But we had something special. But I can't stop thinking about them. Okay. But what are they doing right now? Are they showing up? Are they reaching out? Are they making any effort to be in your life? If the answer is no, then you have to face the truth. You're emotionally connected to someone who is not actively connected to you. And that's not a healthy place to stay. Now let's go deeper. Sometimes it's not even the person you miss. It's the version of yourself you were when you were with them, the way they made you feel, the attention they gave you, the excitement, the hope, the possibility. So your mind keeps going back, not just for them, but for that feeling. But here's the reality check. If they were truly meant to stay in your life, you wouldn't have to hold on to them this tightly in your thoughts. Because real connections don't survive only in your head. They show up in your reality. They call, they text, they make time. They put in effort. So if all you have is memories and thoughts, then that connection is no longer alive. It's just replaying. And you've got to be honest with yourself about that. Now, this doesn't mean your feelings are wrong. It's okay to think about someone. It's okay to miss what you had. It's okay to feel that emotional pull. But what's not okay is allowing those thoughts to keep you stuck. Because every time you entertain those thoughts without questioning them, you're giving energy to something that is no longer giving anything back to you. And over time, that drains you. It keeps you emotionally unavailable for something better. It keeps you tied to the past instead of open to the future. So what do? You shift your focus from, why can't I stop thinking about them? To, why am I giving so much mental space to someone who isn't showing up in my life? That question will change everything. Because now you're not just feeling. You're thinking with clarity. You're no longer romanticizing the situation. You're evaluating it. And once you do that, you start to realize this isn't about them being the one. This is about you needing closure, healing, and emotional release. And that's something you have to give yourself, not them. Because waiting for them to come back and fix how you feel, that keeps you stuck. But choosing to understand your emotions, choosing to let go, even when it's hard, that's what sets you free. So remember this moving forward. Just because someone is on your mind doesn't mean they belong in your life. Your mind can hold on to memories. But your life should be built on mutual effort, presence, and real connection. And anything less than that deserves to stay in your thoughts, not in your future. Let's talk about something people avoid facing: silence. Because silence can feel confusing. It can feel unclear. It can make you question everything. You sit there thinking, why haven't they reached out? Did I do something wrong? Are they just busy? Maybe they need space. And before you know it, you've created 10 different explanations for one simple reality. But let me make this clear for you. Silence is not mixed signals. Silence is a message. The problem is most people don't want to accept what that message actually means. See, when someone's behavior changes, when the calls stop, the texts slow down, the effort disappears, you start looking for hidden meanings. You think there's something deeper behind it, but most of the time, there isn't. The message is in the action, or in this case, the lack of it. Because when someone truly values you, communication doesn't become a guessing game. You don't sit there wondering where you stand. You don't have to analyze every little thing. You don't feel anxious about whether they'll respond or not. Well, effort creates clarity. So when effort disappears, clarity actually increases. You just don't like the answer. Now here's where it gets real. A lot of people hold on to the idea of mixed signals because it gives them hope. It allows them to believe maybe they still care. Maybe they're just going through something. Maybe I should wait a little longer. But let me ask you something honestly. If someone really wanted to talk to you, what would stop them? We all have busy lives. We all go through things. But when someone matters to you, you find a way, even if it's a simple message, even if it's a quick check-in, even if it's just reassurances. Because real interest doesn't disappear without explanation. So when there is consistent silence, what you're seeing is not confusion. You're seeing a lack of priority. And that's hard to accept because it forces you to shift from They're just busy. 2, they're choosing not to show up. And that realization, it hurts. But it also frees you if you're willing to accept it. Now let's go deeper. Silence does 2 things at the same time. It reveals how much you care. It reveals how little they're showing it. And that imbalance is where the pain comes from. You're investing emotionally while they're withdrawing completely. And instead of stepping back, you lean in even more. You start checking your phone constantly. You reread old conversations. You hold on to the last moment things felt right. All because you're trying to hold on to a connection that is no longer being maintained. But here's the truth you need to understand. A connection cannot survive on one person's effort. It doesn't matter how strong your feelings are. It doesn't matter how real it felt. If it's not mutual, it won't last. And silence is often the first sign that it's no longer mutual. Now, I know what your heart might be saying, but what if they come back? But what if I walk away too soon? Listen, if someone comes back, let them come back to a version of you that has standards. Not a version of you that waited endlessly, accepted silence, and tolerated confusion. Because if you don't respect the message silence is giving you now, you'll repeat the same cycle later. So instead of asking, why are they silent? Start asking, what is this silence teaching me? And what it's teaching you is this. You can't force communication. You can't convince someone to show up. You can't build something meaningful with someone who has emotionally checked out. But you can choose how you respond. You can choose not to chase. You can choose not to beg for clarity. You can choose to step back and protect your peace. Because at the end of the day, silence is only confusing when you refuse to accept its meaning. Once you accept it, everything becomes clear. You stop overthinking. You stop waiting. You stop holding on to false hope. And you start seeing things for what they really are. So remember this moving forward. If someone goes quiet on you, don't chase the noise in your head trying to explain it. Look at the reality in front of you. Because silence isn't empty. It's speaking loud and clear. And once you learn how to listen to it, you stop wasting time on people who aren't speaking your language anymore. Let's clear something up, because this is where a lot of people get it wrong. Everybody talks about patience like it means just wait. Your time will come. Just hold on. They'll realize your worth. But listen carefully. Patience was never meant to keep you stuck. Patience was meant to make you stronger. And there's a big difference between the two. See, a lot of people are patient in the wrong direction. They're patient with someone who isn't showing up. They're patient with inconsistencies. They're patient with silence. Meanwhile, they're impatient with their own growth. They don't want to let go yet. They don't want to face the truth yet. They don't want to move forward yet. So they stay in the same emotional place, hoping time will fix something that effort already proved is broken. That's not patience, that's avoidance. Because real patience doesn't look like waiting around for someone to come back. Real patience looks like this. I'm going to take my time healing from this, even if it's uncomfortable. I'm going to take my time understanding my emotion instead of running back to what hurt me. I'm going to take my time rebuilding myself instead of chasing someone who walked away. That's real patience. It's internal, not external. Now let's talk about why people confuse patience with waiting. It's because waiting feels easier. Waiting gives you hope. Waiting keeps the door open. Waiting allows you to believe that something might still happen. But growth requires acceptance. And acceptance requires you to face something you don't want to face, that they are not choosing you right now. And once you accept that, everything changes, because now your patience is no longer tied to their actions. It's tied to your healing. You're no longer saying, I'll wait until they come back. You're saying, I'll take my time becoming someone who no longer needs them to come back. That's power. Now here's the truth most people don't say out loud. When you're patient with the wrong person, you slowly start losing yourself. You lose your confidence. You lose your clarity. You lose your sense of direction because your energy is focused on someone who is not pouring anything back into you. And over time, that creates emotional exhaustion. You feel drained. You don't know why. You feel stuck. You don't know how to move forward. And it all comes back to one thing. You've been patient in the wrong place. So let's shift that. Instead of being patient with someone's absence, be patient with your process. Be patient when it's hard to let go. Be patient when your mind keeps going back to them. Be patient when healing doesn't happen overnight, because healing is not instant. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days you'll miss them. Some days you'll question your decision. That's normal. But here's the difference. You're moving forward, not standing still. And that's what real patience looks like. Now, let me give you something practical to hold on to. Every time you feel yourself slipping back into that mindset, let's make something very clear right from the start. You don't have to earn basic respect, attention, or effort from anyone. That's not something you beg for. That's not something you chase. That's not something you convince someone to give you. That's something that should come naturally from the right person. But here's where a lot of people get it wrong. They start lowering their standards just to keep someone in their life. They say things like, at least they text sometimes. At least they didn't completely disappear. At least they care a little. No, a little is not enough when you deserve consistency. Because when you start accepting half effort, mixed attention, and unclear intentions, you slowly train yourself to believe that's all you're worth. And that's dangerous. Because now, instead of expecting clarity, you start tolerating confusion. Instead of expecting consistency, you start settling for unpredictability. And over time, that chips away at your self-worth. Let's talk about what real value looks like. When someone genuinely wants you in their life, you won't have to question it. You won't be sitting there wondering, do they like me? Where do I stand? What are we? Because their actions will answer those questions for you. They will call, they will text, they will make time. They will show effort without you having to remind them. Not perfectly, but consistently. That's the difference. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means reliability. It means you can count on how they show up. It means their words and actions align. It means you don't feel anxious or unsure all the time. Now, Compare that to inconsistency. One day they're all in, the next day they disappear. Sometimes they give attention, sometimes they act distant. That creates emotional confusion. And confusion is not love. Let me say that again. Confusion is not love. Real love brings clarity. It brings peace. It brings stability. If you constantly feel unsure, anxious, or overthinking, that's not a sign to hold on tighter. That's a sign to step back and reassess. Because the truth is, the right person will never make you feel like you're too much and not enough at the same time. They won't leave you guessing. They won't leave you questioning your worth. They won't give you just enough to keep you around, but not enough to make you feel secure. And if someone is doing that, you have to stop making excuses for them. Stop saying, they're just not ready. They've been hurt before. They don't know how to express themselves. Listen, everyone has a past. Everyone has struggles. But that doesn't justify treating you like an option. Because while you're trying to understand them, you're ignoring yourself. You're ignoring your needs, your standards, your emotional well-being. And that's the cost of settling for less than you deserve. Now, here's the shift you need to make. Instead of asking, how do I make them show up for me? Start asking, why am I accepting someone who doesn't? That question changes everything, because now you're not chasing their effort. You're evaluating their absence. And once you start doing that, you begin to see clearly. If they wanted to be consistent, they would be. If they wanted to give clarity, they could. If they valued you properly, it would show. You don't have to force what is real. Now, don't misunderstand this. Expecting effort, clarity, and consistency is not being too demanding. It's having standards. And standards protect you from wasting time, energy, and emotions on the wrong people, because the moment you start accepting less, you open the door for people to give you less. But when you stand firm and say, I deserve consistency, I deserve clarity, I deserve effort, you automatically filter out the people who can't meet you at that level. And that's not a loss. That's protection. So stop shrinking your expectations just to keep someone around. Stop convincing yourself that this is enough, when deep down, you know it's not. Because the truth is, you deserve a connection that feels secure, not stressful. You deserve someone who shows up, not disappears, someone who communicates, not confuses, someone who chooses you clearly, not occasionally. And until that shows up in your life, it's better to have your peace than to settle for uncertainty. So remember this, anything that lacks effort, clarity, and consistency is not something you should hold on to. It's something you should learn from, grow from, and have the strength to walk away from. Because the moment you truly understand your worth, you stop accepting anything that makes you question it. So let me leave you with this. If he's on your mind, but he's not showing up in your life, don't confuse that with destiny. Don't confuse emotion with direction. And don't confuse attachment with love, because real love doesn't leave you guessing. Real love doesn't live in silence. Real love doesn't make you question your worth. So if all you have right now is thoughts and no effort, no clarity, no consistency, then that's not a sign to hold on tighter. That's your sign to let go with wisdom. And I know it's not easy. But peace was never found in confusion. So choose yourself, choose your growth, choose your clarity, because one day you're going to realize you didn't lose him. You just finally found yourself again.